Hi everyone, Holly here from Artistic Cutworks. Today our video is going to answer a question that so many people have had about the computer that I use, the tablet computer that I use. I'm going to go through 3 different types of Wacom tablets that have 3 different price points for you. The first one that I used a long time ago was called the Intuos, and the Intuos is a tablet that you write on, but when you write on it, you look up at the screen to see what you're doing. It's a little more weird to use because there's a coordination, there's a much more of a learning curve using it that way, but I want to show them to you first. Here's the Intuos, and it has programmable buttons and a rocker panel. These are all really handy, but you'll notice there's no computer screen on here. It's just a touch, well, not a touch screen, a pen screen. And this is the 5x8 size of actual useful range. And this is very good. It works great. One of my team, Maria, actually sold her Cintiq and went with the Intuos because she likes it better. So this is really a personal preference. What do I like, what don't I like kind of thing. This one is indeed pen on tablet, but you're looking up at the screen while you use the tablet. So there's a little more of a learning curve. The pen works exactly the same. There's just a little more learning curve with eye-hand coordination. It is a little cheaper than the other ones. These, you can get all of these on Amazon, and the Intuos brand, model, I guess it is around $200 and up. And you might say, well, gee, that's a lot of money. But when you consider, if you're doing this for a business, $200 really isn't that much money, considering the lifespan of this product. Use per day or use per week or per month is relatively low. Okay, so that's the first one I would recommend to you. They do have a couple of other models that are lower in the food chain, if you will, at Wacom. I can't guarantee you how they will work. I tried the bamboo years ago, and I couldn't turn off the touch part. And if you can't turn off the touch part, then you have a problem with when you put your hand on here to write, it activates the touch. So you want to make sure that whatever you buy, you can turn off the touch part and just have the pen input enabled. So that's kind of critical both for the Intuos and the lower versions. But here's the good news. If you order it from Amazon, you have a return policy. You have a return period. You can take it out, try it. If you don't like it, it doesn't meet your needs, it doesn't do what you think it should do, you can send it back. That's probably the best thing about Amazon, plus their next day shipping. So I would highly recommend you order this from Amazon if you're going to order it. Okay, so that said, let's go to the next type. And this one is just the Cintiq model. I'm going to just lay it down here. Get this guy out of the way. This is just the Cintiq model. And you can see the screen is much bigger. And what happens is you plug this into your computer, either a Mac or a PC, doesn't matter which. And then your computer screen appears here. So this is like an LCD display. Your computer screen appears here. So when you work, you are working right on top of here. So your artwork is underneath there. You're working right on top of it, just like when we were kids and we were coloring. So this is my next favorite solution, because you're not looking at the computer screen and writing down here. You're actually looking where your pen is. Pen works exactly the same on both of these. There's some programmable keys. There's less programmable keys on here than on the Intuos. But that's really the model. They have other models that you can, get that have more programmable keys. But I found this was plenty for me. Another drawback is you probably need to have a little keyboard for these, because you can either have your laptop open and use the keyboard there, or you can have this little Wacom keyboard that is Bluetooth to your computer and rechargeable. I love this. It's really thin. You can see how thin it is. It's really thin and portable. This, I used a Cintiq like this for up until probably the last 2 years when I got my Mobile Studio Pro. I love, love, love this method of creating embroidery designs and silhouette cameo designs. I absolutely loved it because you're right where you're used to working. We've been using crayons and coloring, directly on something since we were 3 years old, some of us younger. So this is very natural. It's very, very natural. I love this. And if you're a digitizer, you will cut your digitizing time in half by 50%. I promise, I guarantee it. But you have to just do it. Don't go back to that mouse. Don't go back to this thing. Don't go back to this thing. That thing's like dragging a brick around the table. Bad. Okay. If you're going to go with a pen and tablet, go with the pen and tablet. Don't look back. Hey, Karen. Ricky, good to see you. Hey, Jude. Another Karen. And Larry's here. Oh, boy. So, okay, so this is the Cintiq, and they have several models of this as well. This is the 13-inch, I believe, 13-inch this way, and they have a 16-inch, and I want to say a 22-inch. So if you're one of those folks that, really likes to work on the big screen and you want to see it like, bigger than life, then those are for you. I like the manageable size so that I'm not moving too far when I work. I don't like the big reach type stuff. It just slows me down. I don't like to be slow. I like to be efficient. So that's the Cintiq. I've had so many questions about the tablets, what I use when they saw the tablet in the first video that we did on the 1st of January. I love my Cintiq. This is the pen. And if you see here, there's a little rocker button here. One on the, turn it this way. One on the bottom does one thing, one on the top does another thing. And you can press the button and touch, and it does something different, and then just press the button and touch, or just press the button. It all does different. You can do a bunch of different things with it. So the control for your digitizing or your creating in the Silhouette Cameo software, or wherever you're creating, whatever it is you do, if you draw, a lot of it is right here in the pen. And I love this. This cut digitizing time in half for me. And the precision, my test sews for embroidery went down from about 1% to 0.1%, truly. And you can ask anybody on my team, if you know anybody on my team, they will tell you the same. My whole team uses these, with the exception, as I said, of Maria. She uses the Intuos. She just likes it better. That's cool, whatever works for you, as long as your work comes out the way you want it. I'm cool with that. The next one that I use, I will show this on the computer screen, so I'm going to be careful with the unplugging. The next one I use is the Mobile Studio Pro, and this is the one that I use now. And this is actually my computer. This is the computer all in one. It has 512 gigabytes, 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's a 13-inch. I love it. 6 programmable buttons. And then down here, I'll show you, is a radial button. When you press that, you get all kinds of new features on your screen. And then you have a rocker or a touch ring that does different things than the center one. So lots of programmable stuff. And the pen, again, works the same. Now, there's a different pen for each of these tablets, so you can't interchange the pens. But you have a pen for each one. What model is my Cintiq? Mine is the, let me think, WX13HD, I think. 13HD. It's the 13HD. Holly David. It's a 13HD. It's the 13-inch, the Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. Now that one, I should tell you that one here, the regular Cintiq, now, I paid well over $1,000 for it when I bought it. Now they're around $500 and up. I think I saw it for $4.99 on Amazon. Great buy. If you're looking to start with a Cintiq, that's a great, really, really great buy. And then this one starts a little higher. But let me show you how I actually work on this, because that may make a difference to you what you go with. I can pick this up. I have the screen plugged in here. I can pick this up and take it wherever I want it. The battery life is about 3 to 4 hours, just like a regular laptop. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to turn this around so you can see it. put my little keyboard there. And now I'm going to turn on the computer, which is my Cintiq. And I'm going to show you what it's like to work on this computer screen. It's going to be at an odd angle, so just kind of bear with me. Okay, so at this odd angle, if I was working on this, I'm just going to use my pen, not pushing any buttons, and just touch the sign in, which is just a left click. It's just a plain left click. I'm wondering if I lay this down. Trying to get the best view for y'all. Okay, so I would just go to my computer screen, but I want you to see what my hand is actually doing. I'm just touching here. Now over here, I'll hit delete because I've got it. There we go. I'll just hit delete. I've got this selected, and now I can use my programmable button and hit delete. So when I work, I have one hand here working this and one hand here working this. So I rarely have to move my hands except when I want to type. So this is really quick and efficient. I have this all programmed so that it does my digitizing stuff, but it also does the stuff in Silhouette Studio. So if I was going to import something, I would just go to Open, just like anything else, and let's go to this SVG file. There it is. I can move it around. Now if I want to right-click, I'm going to push the bottom part of this rocker button and touch, and I get my menus. I get all my right-click menus. So now, if I want to, say I want to copy and paste, I don't have to go very far. I don't have to move my hands from my keyboard. I don't have to go up here. This is just so much more efficient. And you notice I'm working directly on the screen. In the digitizing software, it's amazing because as you're tracing things and making those designs, you're right there on top of that artwork. I just can't express enough how much more accurate it is. It's amazing. It really is amazing. So that's how this all works, and you can go out to, your computer and go into your files. I do everything with my pen, absolutely everything. I'm a pen kind of gal, so if I want to get into my artwork and look at dog silhouettes, I can do that, and I can select one and go and do what I'm going to do. That's the difference between these pen tablets. I will highly recommend to you that if you're thinking about getting a pen tablet, that you're very careful about your choice. Like I said, you can return it from Amazon. That's not a big deal. But you're careful about your choice. What is it you want to do? Are you an embroidery digitizer? If you are, then maybe you want to start with the less expensive one. You can still use your mouse. I have a little mouse connected up, so when I'm doing things like prepping files for the internet, for either ThreadWorks or Cutworks, I'll just push the monitor away, stand it all the way up, and use my mouse and lean back in my chair, and I'm good to go. So you can still use your mouse, but for the creative side, the pen is truly the way to go. Let me check here for some questions. Working on another laptop over here for questions. Okay. The one that is not the computer. What model is your Cintiq? It's a HD13, Karen. The one that's not the computer. Hey, Jan. Hey, Jane. One more question. Difference between Cintiq and Cintiq Pro? To be honest, I don't know, because they didn't have the Cintiq Pro when I got mine. What I would do is, Larry's asking me to say something to you. Okay. I don't know. What I would do is read the descriptions. Cintiq, you probably don't need the Cintiq Pro, but if that's what you want, it's probably just going to have more bells and whistles. It might have more buttons. It might be a little more programmable. That would be my guess, frankly. But let me say this about ordering something. You want to be very sure that you can return anything that you buy, especially if it's not a Wacom brand. because I've seen people buy the cheaper, I won't use any specifics, but cheaper, really cheap brands. I've seen people buy them and they can't return them and they don't work and they've invested money. So if you're going to do this, stay with the brand. I can't encourage you enough to do that because you just don't want to have to be out money. That's, like no fun for anyone. Hey, Kathy. Any other questions? They have a bigger Wacom Studio Pro. They have a 16-inch. I want to say maybe they have a 22-inch now. I'm not sure. When I bought mine 2 years ago, it's a 512 gigabyte and an 8 gigabytes of RAM. It could be more now. I don't know. But it also has an SD slot. I'll show you. It has slots. It has an SD slot here, and this is the on-off button. So it has an SD slot. So what I do is I put things that I don't have to access every day, like maybe artwork I've already used for something or pictures or things like that. I put it on a little SD card and I keep it in there, and that's like a little extra drive for me. And it works perfectly fine. There's no issue with that at all. And that's kind of handy. It does come with USB 3. USB 3. So you want to be aware of that because you'll need an adapter. I'm sorry, USB-C. USB-C. That's still ABC, 1, 2, 3. Okay. There's an adapter that you can get from Amazon. And this is what it looks like. It takes the USB here and it plugs into the USB-C here. So I can plug my Generations dongle in there and use it on my Wacom tablet. Plus it protects my dongle from not getting all damaged and messed up. So you will need USB-C adapters, USB to USB-C adapters. They're not expensive. There's 3 USB-C ports, and I find that's enough. It's enough for what you're doing. But I can just pick this baby up and walk out the door because you can turn on the tablet feature and then write on the screen. So if you want to name a file, you can just write on the screen and name it, January 5th, 2020 practice or whatever you want to do. You can just name it. So it's really convenient. But this Wacom keyboard works, and I think this was like $50. And I've had this for a couple of years now, and I love it. Works great. It's very reliable. No issues with it at all. Thanks, Lori. Good to see you. Hey, Margie. So I've had so many questions that I thought I just had to do a video on this to give you guys the information on these tablets. Again, there are other things like the Surface Pro, the Microsoft Surface Pro, and there are other products out there that may very well work. I think my friend Missy has a Surface Pro, or did have it one time, and it worked fine for her for the things that she was doing. I've just never used one, so I can't endorse that. I can't say it works. So, yeah, there are other options out there. I'm not familiar with them, but that's what I use. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, I know this is a little shorter video, but it's really great information for you guys to have when you're ready, if you're ready. And don't forget to go over to artisticcutworks.com and check out all the resources there. We have designs, videos. There's some free sources there. There's some resources, downloads for links to go to places to get things for the Brother Scan and Cut, that kind of stuff that you're going to need. And if you're watching on Facebook right now, please put your questions below and tell me whatever you'd like to tell me. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, hit subscribe and click the bell so that you get the next videos first before everyone else. And here's our question for the day. What will be the next project you plan to make with your cutting machine? What will be the next project you plan to make with your cutting machine. Let me check for questions again. You're welcome, Carol. You're welcome, Sandy. Good to see you. Okay, so again, please remember, if you buy something somewhere other than Amazon and it's not a Wacom brand, make sure that you have a return policy. Okay? Let me say that again in Chinese for you. If you buy some other brand, someplace other than Amazon or Wacom, make sure you have a return policy. Okay, that's important. You don't want to get stuck with something that doesn't work and have to pay for it. All right, guys, that's how I roll. That's how I work. That's what I do in my studio all day long. Have a great day. I'll see you guys next time.